Take a look at this laptop. This is the Lenovo Yoga Slim 7i Pro with the codename 14IAH7. And that I is used to denote that it's using an AMD or Intel chip. But name aside though, I actually like this laptop a lot. I'm sure that you'll agree with some of our reasons as well, so let's get started. When I first got the box, I thought that the box was empty inside because it felt really weightless. And turns out this laptop is just really light and also relatively thin too. Everything is covered with a classy color that they're calling is the slate grey color. And when we open up the lid, we are presented with a gorgeous 14-inch IPS LCD screen. I literally mean it when I say that it's gorgeous because when I open the lid, then this laptop will automatically boot up, and then they showed a yoga logo as the boot screen, and those colors are very vibrant. Once we enter Windows, the vibrant colors are just astonishing. I actually thought that this laptop is using a touchscreen since Lenovo used a layer of smooth glass on top of the display. Unfortunately, this laptop doesn't come with a touchscreen, but it is just using a piece of glass on top instead of a matte layer, and that just makes the colors pop a lot more and the sharpness is also a lot better. But the downside is, of course, reflections and glare. And I guess one of the reasons why Lenovo chose to use glass is because the higher pixel density of the screen. You see, despite it being a 14-inch laptop, this display is actually a 2880 by 1800 pixels, 1610 in aspect ratio, and also 90Hz refresh rate maximum. And according to our colorimeter, this display's color accuracy is also amazing. It covers virtually 100% of both sRGB and DCI-P3 color gamuts, while also having a low delta E number. And by the way, the maximum brightness that this laptop can reach is only at about 400 nits, and that is definitely bright enough to be used indoors, but outdoors you will be having a rather difficult time because we'll be battling with both glare and also reflections and also the sunlight at the same time. Technically that's three things, right? Okay. And there's also an ambient light sensor beside the Windows Hello camera, which I ultimately disabled because I was playing Overwatch at the time and the screen suddenly just dimmed itself. So I find that to be annoying, so I disabled automatic brightness. And when I started using this laptop, this is where I start to like this laptop a lot more. The keyboard is using the signature AccuType keycaps and it actually feels good to type on, but I just wish that the keyboard keys themselves have a little bit more travel distance because it's just a little bit squishy feeling right now. The trackpad works well, multi-touch gestures work as expected, and the palm rejection is also good. But before we talk about the hardware and performance and whatnot, I want to quickly highlight about the upgradability of this laptop. Technically, only the SSD can be upgraded, and even though we can swap out the Wi-Fi chip, I'm not sure if other Wi-Fi chips are compatible with this laptop. That is coming from past experience, by the way. Now let's move on to the specs and performance of this laptop. The specific configuration of the Lenovo Yoga Slim 7i Pro that we are showing here and the one that we are reviewing is not available for you to purchase locally here in Malaysia. It is also having a very weird hardware combination. So we got an Intel Core i7-12700H, 16 gigs of LPDDR5 RAM at 4800 MHz, 1TB of SSD, and for the GPU, we of course have the integrated Iris Xe graphics and also an NVIDIA RTX 2050. Now I have to say, the RTX 2050 is rather obscure. There isn't much information about it available online, and only Notebook Check has a summary of what to expect from this chip. Either way, due to the resolution of this screen, playing games that do not have DLSS might be a bit more difficult. Take Halo Infinite for example. I can get at least 30 FPS, and that is already at the lowest graphical preset available. But if you want to play some lighter titles like Overwatch, then it is going to reach 90 FPS if we turn on AMD FSR. And by the way, the power brick that came along with the laptop, this one is a 100-watt brick, and it connects to the laptop via a USB Type-C port. And in case you're wondering, yes, you can use a third-party USB Type-C charger, but when I tried our own Ugreen 100 watt scan charger, the watt meter reports that this laptop is only taking in about 80 watts, but when I plug in the original charger, it says it's taking in 100 watts. So I'm not sure if there's something to do with the USB PD from the charger side, as in the controller chip, but either way, if you want to get the maximum performance, use the included power brick. And while on that subject, let's talk about the ports on this laptop as well. Even though there's only a few ports available, I think the placement of those ports are fine. It's just that I do wish one of those USB Type-C ports are on the right side instead, so that I can plug in the charger from both sides. I would also not talk much about the battery life of this laptop since this specific configuration isn't available locally. 61 watt-hour battery included, and from what I have experienced, it can only last for about 3 hours and that's it. I'm not sure if the MX550 version is able to get a longer battery life though. I think probably not, since the laptop runs on the Iris Xe GPU when it's on battery anyways. Okay, so with that out of the way, if you want to buy this laptop locally in Malaysia, then you will have to get it with the NVIDIA MX550 GPU. The performance is definitely not going to be as good as the RTX 2050 and also lacks ray tracing and support for DLSS. And moreover, the MX550 only has 2 gigs of VRAM. So if you do want to play some games using this laptop with its native resolution of 2880 by 1800, that 2 gigs of VRAM is going to be insufficient. But if you want to use this laptop for content creation using Premiere Pro, then I think it should be okay. Even with an MX550, yeah, you can do some content creation, just nothing too complicated or too advanced. And all of that is packed in a relatively lightweight body and also relatively thin as well. And that is the thing that I like about this laptop. I treat this Lenovo Yoga Slim 7i Pro as an ultrabook with a bit of, you know, you can do some graphically intensive work at the side, some, not all. And it's just unfortunate that you cannot buy the RTX 2050 version. And also, I just want to go back and talk about the name for a while, because I expected Yoga to be able to convert 360 degrees, but unfortunately this one is only able to go 180. Actually, it's not even 180, it's slightly less than 180. Either way, the MX550 version with this list of specs on the screen here is priced at 4,899 ringgit, and I still think that it's quite a reasonable price overall for a laptop like this. But I just cannot comment on the battery life if it is using the MX550 that much. So that's it, that's all we have to share with you about this laptop. Overall, really nice laptop. It's just a bit weird when it comes to you planning to purchase this laptop. You know, availability issues.